सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. Thought we saw the 16th verse last time, right? 3 stages in life, accordingly the karma, upasana and jnanam has been given. Any questions, clarifications, or shall we go ahead?
So the ultimate upaya is just to focus on Brahman, right? Is that right?
No, yes, on the knowledge of Brahman, that's it. Yeah. That's the ultimate. In fact, everything else is meant for that. That's why they say, like for example, he says, Grahasthashrama, you are supposed to do karma. The very fact that you chose Grahasthashrama means either you are not aware of what moksha was about, which in modern days is quite common, or you needed the relationship, family, etc. for your growth. Then worship, this, that, Vedika karma, etc. becomes part of the game for your growth. And when you are a Vani, you are handed over karma to the next generation. You are retired. Okay. Yeah. So at the most some upasanas, etc. That's it. Then after that what? Only knowledge, nothing else. Upasanas are also done there. This. So this is, if you are looking at it as stages. This was very true when the society was very structured with varnashrama dharmas. Now the society is not structured in that sense. And the structure does not imply that you could not skip stages, because the same Veda grants the right to skip stages and directly from brahmacharya take sannyas ashrama. So, because of this unstructured skipping, etc., sometimes even if you have joined something full time, some upasanas, some pujas, etc., may continue with you. Okay, so they are not really speaking stages in a watertight compartment like thing in today's world, because today's society is not structured at all, completely unstructured society. Yeah. Who follows even ashrama dharmas? Who are following it? Yeah. In fact, now it's very popular. After retirement, take another job. A post-retirement job. Yeah. Why? Because you don't feel you are ready yet for a life of pursuing the truth. Yeah. You still need a few things. If you need some financial stability, that's understandable. Okay. But otherwise, you still feel that there is self, or you still feel the need to make a contribution in the industry that you are in. And that overrides the pursuit of moksha full time. Which is fine. All this is necessary for individual's growth. It is not a judgment on anyone. It is just pointing out what happens with people. What happens with people. So whatever works, works. Okay. But here the question being answered was, why is all this given when only moksha is jnanameva tu kaivalyam? Moksha is by knowledge alone. Why all this is given? Not to establish duality, but to take care of people's growth. You don't have to establish duality. People are already in duality. Okay. The problem is they take it as real. So the unreality of the whole thing has to come. And that for that, the mind is too conditioned to directly jump into that unreality. So some understanding of Ishvara, cosmic order, dharma, growth, acceptance of facts. The fundamental thing is acceptance of fact. This is fact. Am I trying to change? How much am I trying to change them? So all this part of the game. Okay, that's why the whole thing has been presented like that. Okay. Any other questions or fine? Okay. Okay, given that, let's go ahead. Okay, then he says, स्वसिद्धांत व्यवस्थासु द्वैतेन निश्चिता दृढ़ं परस्परं विरुध्यन्ते तैहि अयं न विरुध्यते. स्वसिद्धांत व्यवस्थासु, established in their own siddhanta. What's a siddhanta? A stand that you have taken, logically, emotionally, whatever it is, a stand you have taken. Okay. Dvaitena nischita dridam. Therefore, the dualistic standpoint that you have taken is very firm in you. You have taken that stand. Now, the problem of taking a stand is what? Especially when it comes to reality. You can't say this is also right, that is also right. No? I will tell the truth. You want to tell lies, you can tell lies. As long as not to be, okay? Can you take a stand like that? A physicist looking at the world, can he deny what he has experimentally verified, theoretically presented, experimentally verified and confirmed? Can a biologist do that? Even if you see the limitations of your this, it's like this person has a cancerous tumor. You go to a surgeon, inevitably he will recommend surgery. Because that is his stand. He's a surgeon. Whereas someone, an oncologist in the field of medicine, may look at chemo, hormonal treatment, radiation. So even in a given field, once you have taken a stand, siddhanta, you are committed to that. Okay. You can't fully accept another system. How many modern medicine doctors, when it comes to themselves, will say, okay, I will try Ayurvedic treatment for something. How many Ayurvedic doctors will go to modern medicine? There will be a handful will always be there. But we are talking in general. Okay? Most people will dismiss the other as useless, harmful. Yeah. So similarly, someone from Sankhya Yoga who talks about Purusha and Prakriti and Samadhi as the solution, can he look at a Karmata and say that is the solution? A Karmata who sees the yogi practicing only Samadhi say that is the solution? Each Siddhanta presents its own viewpoints with some logical base. Let's assume that, okay? Some logical base is there. Some data available from the world and some logical base. Yeah. So when you're taking a stand like this, is always in the field of duality. So he says, all the people who present duality are opposed to each other. They don't accept each other.
So is it more based on belief system? So they are all based on belief system.
Yeah, it's a belief system. No? There is some logic in it. it's not only belief. Only belief can be there. That is the Abrahamic religions. In fact, Martin Luther King made a statement. If you have to be a Christian, you have to gouge out your eye of logic and throw it away. Google it, you'll get it. Martin Luther King actually said that. So if you are that much of a believer, even forget a discussion. What discussion can you have? If there is some logic, some intellectualization, the whole thing, then there can be some sort of a discussion. Which Parama Bhakta, person who is so totally a Bhakta, will even be able to think God and I are one and the same. For him it is blasphemy.
The other way is not true. The other way is not true.
Other way not is a problem.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Advaitin can be a Bhakta. And we'll come to that. Which karmata committed to Vedic karma will accept that what he gets, the Bhakta also will get. Who doesn't do any rituals. With Sankhyan, now let's go technically. With Sankhyan will go and say Nyaya Vaisheshika is right. Which yogi will say that? We are talking about ideology. We are not even talking about religion. Religion to chodo. My religion is right, is universal paradigms. So, this type of a thing. Yeah. In fact, even if you take a branch of physics itself, which I am familiar with, the theoretical physicists will think we are the greatest of it all. Experimental, you are only experimenting what we are presented. We are the greatest. And how will a scientist look at any of the Abrahamic religions? We can't stand it. How will a psychologist look at Abrahamic religions? My God, it's all conditionings, only problems it creates. Yeah. The physicists will say, physics is the study of the universe. We'll arrive at the truth with physics. And biologists will say, no, the study of consciousness belongs to us, not physics. It happens because they are only looking at one section of things. Therefore, they are in conflict with each other. He says, but, parasparam viruddhyante, taihir ayam na viruddhyate. The Advaitin doesn't have a conflict with anything. Dvaita, karma, etc. is necessary. Yes, we understand from which standpoint you are talking. Bhakti is enough. We understand from which standpoint you are talking. God and I are different. We understand what standpoint you are talking. We are part of the whole. We understand which standpoint you are talking. Physics, we understand your standpoint. We have Nyaya Vaisheshika. We are the first theoretical physicists in the world anyway. Medicine, no problems. He who heals is right. If it's an emergency, go to modern medicine. If it's a lifestyle disorder, go to Ayurveda. No issues. As an Advaitin, we have no problems about it. In between, if you want the medicine to taste sweet, try homeopathy. Who heals is right. Everything will work, so not a problem. Up to a point. So, Advaita, really speaking, doesn't have a conflict in it. Because all the conflicts are within Vyavahara. conflicts are within Vyavaharaka Satyam, not with Paramarthika Satyam. But didn't Advaitins debate with other schools? Yes, only when it came to the question of moksha. We are not debating with your lifestyle. You want to live a lifestyle of a bhakta, no problem, do that. Yeah. We don't have an issue. The Dvaitin may look at me and say, I am talking blasphemy. I will look at him and say, stepping stone, he'll take some time to understand. It's okay. He is speaking from the standpoint of Vyavahara. Vyavahara, of course, I and Ishvara are not one. Ishvara created the whole world. I only create confusions. So no issues. Not a problem. Yeah. Because the level of understanding here is at the Paramarthika level, absolute level, not at the Vyavahara. The Vyavaharika level, nothing finite can be absolute. You have to understand that. Duality means finitude. Cannot be absolute, because absolute has necessarily to be non-dual. Why? It has to be limitless. If it is absolute, there is only limitlessness can be absolute. Yatna alpam tattu bhumaha. Chandogya. Sanat Kumara to Narada. Bhuma Vidya, some of you have seen that. Either from me or from Swamini. Bhuma Vidya and Chandogya. Yad alpam tad bhuma. Yad na alpam tad bhuma. What is limitlessness cannot be a finite entity. Therefore, that which is real cannot be finite. Therefore, where are you fighting about? At the level of duality only. Yeah. I'm not saying sometimes a good fight may not be necessary. That's a different thing altogether. Because that is about Vyavahara now. In the Paramarthika, in understanding Advaita, where is the fight? Somebody came and asked me for a debate. I said, what do you want to debate about? Because as an Acharya, you can't refuse a debate. He says on Advaitam. So I immediately started the debate. Yadi Advaitam Satyam na Tarkaniyam. Yadi Advaitam Asatyam na Tarkaniyam. If Advaita is real, there is no need for Tarka. If Advaita is not real, then also you don't need for any Tarka. So what do you have to say now? What do I? Na Tarkaniyam. There is no need for any Tarka. No need for any debate. This was not answering him. This was dismissing him. He didn't know how to answer that. Therefore, problem solved. 2 minutes में हो गया debate. Yeah. So that is what is here. If you understand Dvaita is Mithya, what are you going to do debate upon? What are you debating? Because everything, it's functional. Everything is valid from a standpoint. No? What is not valid from a standpoint in functioning? Everything has got a point. What about taking Purusha and Prakriti as a basis for yoga? It has a standpoint. As a standpoint, it has a validity. Why? If you present, what is happening suddenly? Yeah, if you present, here is a person who has to grow. A lot of growth necessary. Master of the mind, etc. You are presenting the world as mithya to him. Arey, I don't have to do anything. I just have to sit and listen to my Guru. 20 years he'll listen, nothing will happen. Why? Adhikaritva will not come. No, Purusha, Prakriti, separate entities. Purusha does nothing. Prakriti does everything. Therefore, if your body, mind, etc., is part of Prakriti, master it. Do all this. Okay. Sadhana karega. For mastery of the mind will work. Yeah. Because what are all the asanas anyway? Learning to be comfortable with uncomfortable postures, isn't it? Sit down, Sukhasana. Sukhasana for me, I'm sitting in Sukhasana right now. No, not that way. You have to sit on the floor, put one leg here, put one leg there. That is not Sukham, that is Dukkham for me. This is Sukham, or I check. How do you get up from the floor then? You stand straight up, don't touch here and there. Why not? Because for mastering the body, all that is necessary. Yeah. You're not going to clamber all over and stand up if you want to master the body. No, stand up straight. So, you will take it seriously. It is part of sadhana to master the mind. Okay. That's what happens to many Vedantins. They don't take things seriously because sab mithya hi hai na. Without really understanding what mithya is about. Have you thought the thought here is getting everything is mithya is also mithya? Yeah. Is the thought that everything is mithya or satya? If it is satyam, the thought should be permanently in your mind. You can't see anything or hear anything else. But that's not true. The thought comes, goes, everything other comes in. So there is absolutely no conflict for a Vedantin with duality. Yeah. But duality is not opposed to anything. To be opposed to anything, there has to be a reality there. When you say Advaitam Satyam, there is no reality other than me, the consciousness. If there is no reality other than me, what am I contending with? Therefore, Advaita is not opposed to anything. Does the rope have to tell the snake, get lost? You are making people afraid of me. In the eyes of the rope, the snake doesn't exist. Only I am there. So Advaita doesn't contend. Because Advaitam Satyam means pure consciousness. Everything is a manifestation. No issues. But if you take one manifestation as the sole reality, or a group of manifestations as a reality, then you will have to contend with everything else. Then it will become like a Virar local from the other station. You are trying to get in contend. Yeah. There you better contend, okay? Can't avoid it. Vyavahara.
Swamiji, can you just repeat the last point? I didn't get it.
See, if I understand what Advaita is about, what is Advaita is that pure consciousness. That pure consciousness, is it opposed to anything? Everything is a manifestation. Apparent manifestations, not real. So what do I have to... When I say I am talking about what does I, the consciousness, have to contend against anything. You don't have to contend against anything as consciousness. Vyavahara, there may be some contentions. And even in Vyavahara, what are we contending against whom? Nothing really, because we understand their standpoints. So there may be some discussion and debate when it comes to understanding Advaita. Yes, That's a different thing. Because that's again, understanding Advaita is Vyavahara or Paramarthika. What is it?
Swamiji, when you say understanding,
Vyavarika
it becomes Vyavarika straight away.
Correct. That's why remember Adhyasa Bhashya? We will see that. Those who are seeing it, fine. Those who are not seeing it, we will see it. Iyam adhyasam puraskritya sarve pramana prameya vyavahara. Keeping this nithyatvam in view alone is all the pramana and prameya functioning going on. Laukika, worldly activities. Scriptural activities dealing with karma or dealing with moksha. Vyavahara means mithyatvam, remember this. So in the mithya world, of course, there is all this stuff. So discussion, debate, etc. In fact, Vedanta grew in the language of debate and discussions, which I find not enough is happening nowadays. I have not been to a Kumbh Mela for years, so I am not sure whether it is happening now or not in a Kumbh Mela. Earlier days, we are talking about more than 40 years ago, we have attended debates and discussions on that. I mean, it's not open to the public. You will get a quiet invitation to come for it. If you are recognized as one of the serious people in this field, then you will get a quiet invitation. For public, it is all the katha, pravachan, all that thing will be fine. And a lot of Ram Leelas. In North, everything is Ram Leela. Okay? So that you will find. But so debates and discussions are within the Vyavaharic field. Again, for what? Understanding Satyam. And the Satyam is not opposed to anything. You as an Advaitin can take a stand on the Pramana and debate to make someone understand, or debate if your position is challenged. And if Dharma is challenged, you can even pick up a sword, not a problem. That's a different thing. That's Vyavahara. We are talking about the absolutes. Absolute is not opposed to anything. Brahman is not opposed to anything. It is not something new that you are hearing. Na hanye hanyamane sharire. Gita. Na hanta na hantaram. Right in the beginning we have seen all this. Na hanta na hantaram. For that, now to bring that into my life, the Mithyatya Nishchaya has to be very clear. That's why the previous chapter was establishing Mithyatvam of the word. After that, Advaita should become clearer. So this chapter is on Advaita because of that. Okay. And elaborating that idea. Advaitam paramarthato hi Dvaitam tad bhaved uchyate Trayor ubhayaya dvaitam tenayam na virudhyate. Advaitam paramarthataha. I made this point in our explanation. Advaitam is paramarthata, absolute. Absolute is what? Desha kala aparichinnam. That is not conditioned by time and space. Advaitam paramarthataha. But Dvaita has come from Advaita only, no? Look at it. The Dvaitin will say it, Advaitin also will say it. How will the Advaitin say it? What world you see? Nothing, a manifestation. How will the Dvaitin say it?
Creation, he calls it
Creation, cause-effect relationship, etc. So in the beginning was a super dense matter. From that the whole world, Big Bang, everything came up. Therefore he makes a point. Tesham, for the Dvaitana, Ubhayata Dvaitam. There is Dvaitam either way. Why? Because creation is real, no? Are you seeing? If the creation is real, then the creation is different from the source of the creation. Or the creation is a modification of the source of the creation. Science. That means before, after, every time, duality alone is a reality. Whatever you talk about in quantum physics, if you take the Big Bang as real, then world is real. We use some of the arguments of science to support our viewpoint. But this is fundamental. If you are taking a Big Bang real, it's an event that has happened, true, then duality is real. It's only at the quantum level that science will talk about the observer observed difference vanishing. But the same scientist, when he looks at the whole cosmos, he doesn't say it is vanishing. But there it is there. Only at this level it is not. So he has to take the reality. Any school of philosophy other than Vedanta will have to take it like that. Other than Advaita Vedanta. I am constrained to say that because there is Dvaita Vedanta and Vishishta Advaita Vedanta. So that all the time is duality only for them. Even if you say the whole world is Ishvara's body and I am a part of it, duality for you, no? Because you are a part of Ishvara. You multiplied by 1 billion times is Ishvara, no? Or 1 trillion times is Ishvara. Even if you say moksha is you entering Ishvara, giving up your identity or retaining your identity. It sounds nice. Like the river entering the ocean. You will become one with the pure consciousness Ishvara. Achha. And they say that the river trembles at the sight of the ocean because now it has to give up its identity and become one with the ocean. Ravade, Ravade. That's what you have to tell us, okay? It all sounds nice. River entering the ocean is true. If you are entering Brahman in that manner, retaining your identity or giving up your identity. Not like the river, I have to give up my identity. If you have to give up your identity, for whom is moksha? It's not for you, then you don't exist for moksha. No, retaining my identity, you will stand separate from God. You will be a virus in God. And you'll have to take some antiviral or some antifungal or some antibiotic or some flagell or whatever to get rid of you. Yeah. So how will it be? Even that river giving up its identity, even that example I can show, it's a Veshama Drishtanta. You should go to Ganga Sagar, where the mighty Ganga enters. Go in a helicopter or something, watch it from a height. You'll find the color. The Ganga is a bit muddy there. And it rushes into the ocean. And you can trace it for a mile. The Ganga still exists because the flow is so much. There's so much of water flowing. You can see it for a mile. Then you get down, come. Half a kilometer before the ocean. Taste the water. It is salty. So is the river entering the ocean, or is the ocean welcoming the river, if you want in poetic terms? Veshamari Drishtanta. It's a problematic Drishtanta. All these examples are really used here to present it properly, to show identity. Not joining, not Sayujyam, not Samipyam, etc. None of these things. Okay. Yeah, it's identity. Ekatvam. Neha nanasti kinchana. There's no duality at any time. Duality is an appearance. Vyavaharikam. Okay. Yeah. Therefore, here we are constrained to make the three realities. You can dismiss it completely, like Swapnavat, and put it that way also. Swapnavat. Where is it? Yeah. Like a dream only it is. Kidhar hai? Yadrishyam tad mithya yata swapnaha. We saw that logic also, remember? Second chapter. Whatever is seen is mithya, like the dream. So there it is. Okay, Paramarthata. There is always duality. If you are taking, now there is duality, later on it won't be there, later on also it will be there. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Mayaya vidyate hi etat tanyatha ajam katanchana tattvato vidyamane hi pratyatam amrutam raje. He says, Mayaya vidyate hi etat. Any duality that you see, any vyavahara that you see, is purely because of Maya, he says. Maya makes the reality appear as though it's many. Appear, not become many. Because of Maya, Brahman becomes a world. Brahman appears as a world. Because of my tailor's Maya, the cloth appears as a kurta. My tailor's Maya Shakti, okay? Yeah. Has the cloth disappeared to become the kurta? What is kurta? Namarupaha. The color of the kurta is the color of the cloth. The feel of the kurta is the feel of the cloth. The fall of the kurta is the fall of the cloth. Weight of the kurta is the weight of the cloth. Whether it requires ironing or nothing is the property of the cloth. Nothing belongs to the kurta. It's all cloth only. But then, it appears like that. That's it. So similarly here, through Maya, Brahman appears as the world. Appears as the whole universe, multiverse. And he says, Tattvata vidyamane. If it really became things, then what? The mortal will become mortal. So what? Let it become. Let it become means you not understood what it means to be limitless in terms of time and space. You really not understood what timelessness is or spacelessness is. In fact, many people think, oh, Brahman is a permanent entity. It's always there. It's unconditioned by time. In your mind, look at what's happening. You think Brahman is hanging around for a long time. पहला भी था, अभी भी है, कल भी रहेगा. It's good, it's correct. Past, present and future. Trikala bhaditam satyam. That means past, present and future is always there. That means what? Look at what's happening in your mind. What the Shastra is saying is correct. What's happening in your mind? Are you thinking of it as continuous? Or are you thinking that if you dismiss time, the reality is still there? That's why we talk about it like that more. You dismiss time, it is still there. In time it is there, without time it is there. So now look at the problem in the teaching. When you hear these things, you know there is problem in the teaching. Think of a time when time is not there, Brahman will be there. Sounds good, no? How can you think of a time when time is not there? Come on, yaar. You can't think of a time when time is not there. You can only dismiss time experientially, like how you do in deep sleep or samadhi state. You can dismiss time, you are still there. Or understanding wise, cognitively, like how we are doing it in the class. Time itself is not there. The truth of time is nothing but consciousness. We have seen that before. We have seen that before elaborately. All that you call as time is nothing but looking at the consciousness through the flow of your thinking. To quickly sum up, what is time? Gap between two events. Previously sunrise, sunset. Now pulses of accords. In the future, electronic pulses. So, the gap between two events is time. No event without an observer. Therefore, the gap between two observations is time. That means the gap between two thoughts is time. Between two thoughts, what is there? Me. I, the consciousness, the truth of time. That means time is dependent on me, the consciousness. I am not dependent on time. If you think, that is not true, look at where your identification is. Body. They say that's a bit difficult to get. Why? Because you have taken the body as you, and then you're saying, I can't be that. The moment you hesitate in that understanding, that little hesitation comes in the mind. Okay, now. See, as long as I said, consciousness is the truth of time, you all are fine. Moment I am saying time is dependent on me, I am independent of time. Why? Because identification is lost in the folds of the stomach. That's why the moment I shift to I, which is what is the traditional teaching. I am limited. Time depends on me, I don't depend on time. Even though I love that ditty, जब मैं बिल्कुल बच्चा था बहुत शरारत करता and then the next stage क्या रंगीन जवानी था then अब तो बिल्कुल बूढ़ा हूँ गोली खा कर लेता. It's a nice ditty, it's an advertisement ditty, okay? But it's very, very well done. Why? I heard it 50 years back, I still remember it. I'm sure many of you remember it. Bajaj lights, okay, tube light, it was an ad for that. Very well made ditty. But what? That's not true. That's only for the body. That's only for the mind. In fact, only body. Because really speaking, who's an old person? A kid or a youngster trapped in a old body. Isn't it true? This is something I discovered long back. When I joined the workshop, I was 18 or something, 18, 19. And I'm finding people my father's age joking and fooling around as though they're teenagers, as though they're like my age. So in their own group, they're like that. So you don't really All that mature behavior is only when you are father and son, not otherwise. But I am timelessness. If you are hesitating to say I am timeless, see where your identification is. Question that identification. Go back to seeing it as mithya. Mithyatvam of the body, of my body. Mithyatvam of my mind, my emotions, my thoughts, my feelings, my ideas, what I hold as true. No, Swamiji, mithya, everything is mithya, I accept. But I can't eat onion or garlic. I'm using that example because I see a lot of tambrams here. That is not mithya, that is satya. अरे एक बार खा लो कुछ होने वाला नहीं है. एक बार. I'm not saying make it a habit. You don't like it. Fair enough. You don't like it. Why do you have to eat it? Oh, I can't touch it. Huh? Or you are a Jain. Conditioned. You may not like it, don't eat it, but don't be conditioned by it. No, Swamiji, I am not conditioned, it is only my preference. Revade, I know how much it is. Certain values, yeah, true, accepted. I also follow some things, fine. But understanding full the mithyatvam of the whole thing. And to make sure that you are not conditioned by it. To make sure you are not conditioned by it, you should be able to break it once in a way and not feel guilty about it. If you are feeling uncomfortable breaking it, it's just a conditioning. I was talking about the sattvic nature of food, etc. and Gita it comes. And one time I'm actually told, Swamiji, today is Vaikuntha Ekadashi. How can you say all these things? I said, because Vaikuntha Ekadashi, I'm saying all this. I'm echoing Krishna's words and explaining it. Go to our Vedic Wisdom Festival website. Last year's talk by Dr. Parthasarathi. He says garlic should actually be put as sattvic. And because it has got mild aphrodisiac properties, many sadhus and brahmacharis avoid it. By nature, it is more sattvic than anything else. But only because of this, sadhus and full-time spiritual people avoid it. Swamiji, how can you see that? Ayurveda is a pramana for. Ayurveda is Vedanga. No, Swamiji, but our tradition. Sit with your conditionings and then you are trying to understand Nityatam of the world. Revade. Yeah, I'm not mincing words here, okay? I'm telling it as it is. That's my job of a teacher. If your lifestyle has a preference, you don't want to eat it, that's a normal thing, fine, don't eat it. I'm not saying no to that. Yeah. Like I don't eat non-vegetarian food. Yeah. It has got certain tamasic qualities. But I didn't stop because of that, I stopped for other reasons. Yeah, you can say tamasic qualities, I stopped it because of that. Because my reflexes, etc. But if you are a person who unknowingly ate non-vegetarian food and you discover it after 3 days and you have to go and throw it up, what does that mean? Your conditioning is strong. You unknowingly ate it, okay. For me, the other way around happened. Somebody served me something. I said, this looks like non-veg. Savanji, this is not exactly non-veg. It is made out of raw jackfruit. So it gives that texture. I said, that is good. Jackfruit is a great thing. I'm from Mallu land, okay? We enjoy jackfruit a lot. I'm just trying to show you all how the conditionings prevent you from understanding. What is your preference? Follow, not a problem.
So does it mean more conditioned you are? Does it mean more conditioned?
The conditioning is the problem. Yeah.
So
Conditioning is
then
when
the
you hold on to
Mithyatvam
that
is
as absolute.
difficult then the Mithyatvam is difficult.
Yeah, anything it can be, you know. It can be in anything. Yeah, it can be in anything. Yeah. So there is where the whole thing comes. If you are seeing the mithyatvam of things, you can't be conditioned by anything. Because all value structures are finite. Understand this well. Dharma also is conditioned by time, place, circumstance, etc. It's a finite thing. You can say Sanathanam, etc. All that fine, acha hai. So, do you expect Dharma to be Sanatana as Brahman is? Yeah, Anu, you have a question.
Thank you, Kapitesh. I had a quick question. So what if you see your conditioning? So you're seeing that, yep, this area I am conditioned.
Yeah.
Does it mean in that one area you understand the general mithyatvam, but you also see because of childhood or whatever you're being conditioned by this. Could you elaborate on that?
So, a conditioning is where if you knowingly or unknowingly go against that, you feel guilty about it.
I see.
See, like my body is conditioned to exercise. So I love to exercise. Now that is not a problem because if I skip one day's exercise, I don't feel guilty about it.
Right.
But if you start feeling guilty, then it is that exercising has become your conditioning.
Okay.
That doesn't mean a whole week you don't exercise, you should feel great about it. Don't take it to the other extreme also. Okay. Yeah. Or a food, certain things you don't eat. But it happened one day, okay, fine, okay, no problems, all right. It's like you went for a feast, you normally keep Ekadashi fast. You went for a feast without realizing it is Ekadashi and had a good feast. Then you feel guilty about it afterwards. Why? It's okay, you didn't know, Baba. Lord, understand it, okay. So sadhanas can also become conditioning. Yes, definitely. Yeah. Definitely sadhanas can become a conditioning because you're so conditioned to the practice. I told you all stories about this. How this lady had a sadhana of reading Guru Charitam to get a good guru. So if you're not doing japa and travel, not a problem. Or do it in the flight. Japa can be done anywhere. On the flight if you want to. Or let it be, didn't do it. Aaj chutti de diya. Bhagwan, you take it easy. I take it easy. I won't disturb you by chanting your name. I also take it easy, you also take it easy. Can you laugh at it? Can you joke at it? Then it's not a conditioning. Yes, Sunita, you have a question.
Yeah. Swamiji, what is the difference between conditioning and discipline?
Conditioning and discipline.
Something which you follow, it is supposed to be done as a discipline.
Yeah, so
and then, like for our cultivation or practice, anything.
So what happens to you if you don't do it one day? For some reason you couldn't do it. Let us say you get up early morning and do that practice. Now cultivation practice, serious practice, you do it. Today you slept late. To get up at the same time, you barely get 4.5 hours sleep. So what is better? You feel guilty if you don't get up and do the practice? If you feel guilty, it has become a conditioning. If you recognize, Arre Baba, with 4.5 hours, this thing I'm not supposed to do that practice. I'm supposed to get a decent night's rest. So today I won't do it and be happy about it. Then it's not a conditioning, it's only a discipline.
almost fasting in Ekadashi and all that people do.
See,
So
all
that-
this, it's all great practices, great sadhanas. All sadhana is good. I will never look down upon any sadhana. Let not the sadhana become a conditioning. You know, there was this group of people in Bombay, in Chambu. This one person who used to get up early morning and read the Ramayana, one chapter. Very good sadhana. Then Swamiji told him, I'm doing the Taittiriya Upanishad. Come and listen to the ashram. Swamiji, yes. They didn't come. Mandukya Karika, same invitation. Hey, Guru is inviting you, okay? Take it seriously. No. Then finally he said, Brahma Sutras, next time you have to hear Brahma Sutras, you'll have to come to Rishikesh from me. So they all came. They all packed up in one car. But he has to do the sadhana. So those days you have to reach the ashram at 6:30. To reach the ashram at 6:30, you have to leave Chambur at 5:30, 5:45. Those days, not now. Highway, etc. was not there. Okay. So 5:30 they would leave. But he wanted to finish Ramayana chanting before that. Otherwise he would feel guilty. So he'd get up at 3:30 in the morning, finish the Ramayana chanting and then come to the ashram and happily sleep in the Brahma Sutra class. How do I know? Because he used to sit next to me. And I'm hearing him snoring and I'm jerking him awake. Sheer conditioning. I told him, shift it to the evening, shift it to some other time. Or don't do it for 3 months. Oh, don't do, I can't do. I said, shift the time. Can you see how the sadhana became a conditioning? Yeah. So, what is it? Is it a discipline or is it a conditioning? If you can get up at 3:30 in the morning, do the Ramayana chanting, and be alert and focused in the class, I'll say fine, I respect you. Very few of us can. So, there's the very whole thing. Are you letting the sadhana become a conditioning? Are you letting your discipline become a conditioning? Are you letting your dharma become a conditioning? Not meant for anything. None of these three are meant for it to become a condition. If it's becoming conditioning, there is a subconscious feeling that this is absolutely real. That is why it's being done. It's becoming a condition. That this is real. Or there are vague fears you have picked up in childhood. God will become angry. That is worse. I always, when people come and tell me this, I always ask them this. भगवान को और कुछ काम धंधा नहीं है क्या? Except to get angry at you. Yeah. Yeah. So understand this. You're taking something which is meant to be a finite thing as absolute. No, so there are nitya naimitika karmas. Yeah. We all know what nitya naimitika karma is. Do Agnihotram daily and come and talk to me about nitya naimitika karmas. If you are a Brahmana, you are supposed to do Agnihotram every day. And we proudly claim there are 23 Agnihotris in the whole country. And nowadays most Agnihotram is that morning cup of kapi. Good Agnihotra. I enjoy it. That's why the whole thing is. Therefore he says, if you are Mahayaya vidyate, Tatvate vidyamane mrityo amritatvam. Amritam will become mritam. So it becomes a problem. The whole thing will become a mess. Yeah. And from there I took off into understanding what is becoming conditioning, etc. So that free mind, your mind should be relatively free to understand what is absolutely free. Get this thing clear. Mind should be relatively free to understand what is absolutely free. Discipline gives you some freedom. Discipline is about getting freedom. But we convert our discipline into conditioning which binds us. Because discipline gives us a mindset, etc., which is I'm free enough to do a lot of things because of a disciplined mind. But if you're going to convert the same thing into a conditioning, you're binding yourself further instead of freeing yourself. So, think those who are attending Sunday class, of course, Sunday there will be no class. Vedic Wisdom Festival. If you're not registered, please register and attend whatever you all can. Okay, good place to stop. Om Tat Sat. And